Hi there, everybody. My name is André. This is Cole. And together we are a team of advice givers with absolutely no qualifications whatsoever. This is our first ever show, and we're going to do our best to answer readers' problems and steer your lives in the right direction. A little bit about us. We're both New Orleanians, although Cole is a lifelong New Orleanian. I'm a transplant. And neither one of us is actually in New Orleans right now. So, Cole, where are you in the country?
I'm actually currently in San Diego, California.
Why would you go to San Diego when you could be in New Orleans in the summer?
I guess the beach is a little bit better than a huge sauna.
That's, that's true, that's true. But it is a free sauna. You can just get the sauna action like anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm actually currently in Mexico. I've fled the country altogether. So at the current time, neither one of us is in the Crescent City, but we do hope to both be back in the future. So, Cole, what would you say is your main qualification for giving advice to people?
I don't believe I have any qualifications besides a little bit of humor and a lot of travel. That's about it.
That's true. Yeah, that is one thing we both have in common. We've both traveled around the world quite a bit. And actually, I think two of our questions today will relate to travel, which we can answer non-travel questions as well. It just gets more and more amateur the farther we get from our main faculty. So there's that. Okay, are we ready for a question here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what we got. So check my notes here. So Emma in Michigan asks, how do you work around living the life that you know would make you happy and fulfilled through travel when your partner sees no value in your dream? Do you leave them and the life that you've built together on the chance that your dream is what you think it will be? Or do you wait for them to come around and accept your vision? What do you What do you think?
Well, Emma's pretty heavy. She's pretty
I feel like this is the kind of question that almost can't even be helpful with because the answer is so obvious that the person asking it already knows the answer, and they're just refusing to take the advice. I mean, the obvious answer is just ditch the person and go live your dream. Am I wrong?
I would say, waiting around for someone's kind of pussy, kind of ridiculous thought. But I will recommend convincing, and that is a tool that's in our tool belt that I think both of us carry. And my father refers to it as the gift of gab. So if you can try to convince the person that you're with to go with you, that's probably for option A. They don't believe in it. Okay, well, you're a jerk. You don't believe in me. Come with me anyway. Okay, that doesn't work. There's option C, which is you go by yourself. And, it's kind of like, it's hard, I think, Andre, because most people will say, oh, someone's dream is becoming a dentist or becoming a shoemaker or whatever, building Legos for their life. And people can see it. It's very, it's very physical. It's very concrete. For us, our dream as a travelers, it's very abstract. And it's really hard, I think, for Americans to actually connect with that. I think Europeans take, 4 to 8 weeks a year. Australians, New Zealanders, all these countries time off, in order to actually, I guess, nip the travel bug in the butt, so to speak. I don't know.
That's an interesting point. I wonder what Emma's preparation is like. I mean, I think it's a very different situation if you tell your partner, I really want to travel the world, and you have savings or a source of income you can use on the road, and you have a plan for how you're going to do it. I think that's very different from saying like, hey, let's just go travel the world, and you don't, I mean, what's the practical side, right? I mean, her partner might be saying, well, we don't have the money, or we have, our jobs are tying us down here. I think preparation is a big part of it. So one thing is probably if her plan is realistic, if she has, if she's put the time into, really making a strategy for how do you 6 months after you have left your home and you're still traveling, where's your food coming from? That's going to be a major step in making it convincing, right?
Right. So we're talking about provisions and planning, which is something that I think is so necessary before you go out. There's
I mean,
always
I'm a firm believer that you can prepare for any trip just by bringing a bottle of bourbon and like a package, like a really big package of condoms.
right.
I just that
Yeah.
usually is all you really need.
That's all you really need. That's all you really need in life is in general, and at least
Okay.
in, and I think that Emma, it must be hard for her. Maybe she's a type of person that is afraid to take that leap and step off of the comfort and warmth of your home. Sell your stuff. Go to Craigslist. Sell it. That's how you make money.
Does that really work though? I mean, I remember when I was getting ready to travel, I sold a lot of CDs, a lot of books, some furniture, a
People
lot
still
of
buy.
clothing. I think I came out with maybe like a couple $100. I mean,
Right.
like sold like a whole living room worth of stuff. It's like,
But here's my
wasn't
question.
fun. Yeah.
People still buy CDs?
No. Well, that was the thing. This was like a few years ago, and I had all
Okay.
these CDs I never listened to. So the real pain in the ass part was just taking the time to record each CD into my computer before I got rid of them.
Right.
Probably really why I didn't get a whole lot of money, because it was primarily CDs and used books.
Right.
They're not exactly the gold standard of the vintage world.
It doesn't, yeah.
Okay, well, so here's a question. Okay, like now we've been kind of, I think we've been a little rough on Emma, because for all we know, she's got a really good plan that she's put together, really practical strategy where this is possible. I mean, the way she makes it sound here is that her partner she says, my partner sees no value in my dream. I mean, so what if the problem's really on the partner's side? You can't convince everybody that traveling will be fun. So what do you do in that case?
All right, that's a good question. I mean, so basically, this dude or woman, whatever, partner, just doesn't agree with a lifelong choice. And that's what travel is. If you've got that bug in you, and you call yourself a traveler, it's going to happen annually, semi-annually, annually, bi-weekly, whatever. So if your partner is not on board with that kind of lifestyle, then maybe your lifestyles are different, and therefore maybe that's what needs to be addressed. Um, I took like one psych class, so I thought that would work out right there. But no, in general, I think you're talking about two different lifestyles.
Yeah.
And you can't, if that person's willing to wait for you, then great. You guys are willing to make that commitment. Right? Yeah.
It's hard.
Right. But I mean, if they're willing to do that, you have to find some common ground where it's like understood, or they just don't understand your lifestyle, and that's a relationship problem.
I mean, could you just maybe like just slip them some chloroform, then throw them in the trunk of the car and they just wake up in Maui, you're just like,
Yeah,
surprise, we're traveling. I
that's a
mean,
good.
really, if you choose a good country or a good state or something, like if you take them to Hawaii and they wake up a little groggy, they might be mad for a few minutes, but how mad are they really going to be?
Right.
I wouldn't start off with like Czechoslovakia.
That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, first thing is first, pick, like you're saying, pick a very polite place to go to. Like, very, very good point. The first time, Joseph, I did something really nice. I said, go get your passport, and it was before Christmas, and that's my partner, Joseph. He had never really left the country before Mexico. which doesn't count, no offense. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
Depends on, I think, how far you go into the country is really the crucial difference. You're hanging out in Tijuana.
donkey shows, whatever. But no, for real, like he had never left. So, I decided for Christmas to get him a ticket to Portugal. Best decision I ever made because it was the easiest travel. People were very friendly. I read up about it. I was definitely did my homework, before we went there. And the tickets were cheap. That always helps. So if you can actually make it an adventure, people feel more whisked away, like I bought a ticket for you or chloroforming them, whatever, it takes. Like, but I think you're right. Convincing and coaxing is number one, really.
So I was reading something recently that there were, unfortunately I don't remember where this was, so I can't give proper credit. It's not my idea, however. But that there's basically three things that you can focus on when you're traveling in a different country. There's the place, so taking in all the historic sites, the beautiful streets, things like that, museums, and kind of learning the culture. Or you can focus on the people, where you're making a bigger effort to socialize with locals, maybe you learn more of the language first. You really focus on spending a lot of time like in the areas where the locals like go about their normal days. Or the third thing you can focus on is yourself. Just like, well, I just want to have a lot of mojitos and like lay on the beach and kind of just be stress-free for a while, or go skiing, or whatever it is that you do that's just for fun. And I think that the crucial difference is that when somebody's like on a vacation, which I think is the kind of travel most people are used to, you are really mostly focused on that third one, on yourself. You really don't want to have a whole lot of stress enter into a vacation setup. But if you're a traveler, you're usually thinking more of the first two. You don't mind going somewhere uncomfortable or sleeping in like a really like rundown little motel in a small village somewhere if it gives you that chance to see this spectacular lake or to meet these people or learn about their customs or something like that. So that might be the fundamental difference here. I mean, I don't know that there's a good way to blend like vacation and travel. Although I did have an ex. It was actually the first time I ever went to Mexico, which you just told me doesn't count. Where we had to split the difference. Like I wanted to go explore and learn the culture, and she wanted to lay on the beach. So it's like, well, we're going for 10 days. The first 5 we're going to lay on this beach in the Yucatan, and the next 5 we're going to rent a car and drive around the little town and do other stuff. So you could maybe kind of work your way up to it by splitting the difference. But I think if you have different priorities, it's gonna.
Yeah, like one person's lazy, and the other person wants to explore. What, some of us, are like that. But no, I agree with you.
Emma, if you're watching this, Emma, it sounds like your partner is just a wuss.
One. We don't.
I mean, what's holding a person down? I mean, in this country, in this day and age, do family ties even matter anymore? I mean, is anybody really sitting around like, well, I could go to Italy, to wine country, but oh man, I would hate to not have lunch with my mom every Sunday. And there's Facebook is for just Facebook.
Right, Facebooker. Google Hangouts. There's a plug for Google. We love you, Google. But for real, like I think you're right. Definitely, for sure. I mean, people have to be. It's like a calm, serene vacation is what most Americans want. Let's face it. They're overworked. They're tired of answering their cell phones, and they just want to sit on a beach. So you basically have to find people that have the similar components of travel. Definitely. Yeah. So,
that's a really good point too. Is that people do work hard. If you're working in a structure where your only travel time is your vacation time, I really wouldn't recommend doing a lot of rough, culture-intensive travel.
True.
And if you spend 7 days, I don't know, like hiking through Eastern Europe or exploring small villages in Vietnam or something like that, when you come back, you're going to need a vacation. Like it's not relaxing to do that. It's fun, and it teaches you a lot about yourself, and I love it. But it's not like you come back feeling rested and energized. So if you use your only vacation time to go do that, and then you come back and you got to go right back to work, it's like a death sentence.
Right, that's brutal. That's brutal. Like, a lot of people don't like camping on their time off. They think it's like a lot of work, you
Yeah.
know, especially people that are from New Orleans. They thought it was really odd that we wanted to go to like Glacier National Park and spend time with bears and,
Right.
you know, building, I don't know, campsites. A lot of people don't find that fun. But for
Bears
me,
are really just like, I mean, bears are just big fuzzy alligators when you think
they're
about
lazy. Yeah, they're just hanging out. You know, you throw them a biscuit, they're fine. Don't
it.
be bears. Don't be bears. Like, but a lot of people when I came back from the vacation, they're like, "Well, were you? Did it like clear your head?" I was like, "Absolutely." But we also went for like 10 days, which gave us a day or two to like kind of just take in the mountains, you know, and chill out. But that's, you know, again, like you're saying, more experienced, you know, kind of travel
Right.
for sure.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think the short version for Emma. This is what I would say. Cole, tell me if you disagree. I would say you just have to look at how long this has been going on and really whether you picture it changing. And I don't mean changing in the sense of like, can you bully your partner into or wheedle and convince your partner to try it for a little bit? Because it's not going to make either one of you happy. You know, they're going to feel like they've given in and done what you wanted, and you should be happy. And meanwhile, you're going to be getting like this little tiny teaspoon of the travel adventure you want, when really you wanted like a bathtub full.
Right.
So if they're just never going to like this, then I would honestly, if really, I would just leave in the middle of the night. I would just take everything in the living room, a couple $100 worth of CDs and used books, and put it in the
Right.
truck, and just get out of there.
Well,
And and begin your adventure with your children in the car and your ex chasing you down for child custody across state lines. Just run for it. And that's really going to be the first travel adventure. I mean, you'll never forget those days skiing through
right.
Michigan. So that's what I would suggest. But on the other hand, if you feel like your partner is only resistant for practical reasons, because of the job consideration,
Right.
because of the dangers involved, because of money, something like that, then that's something you can work on. You know, if they're sincerely just worried about the practical side, then pull together your proposal and start working. I mean, ask them, well, what are you worried about? Like, what do you think is going to be the biggest problems, the top two problems, and then work to come up with solutions to those. That's it.
And I agree with all of that. Just do some alcohol lubrication. You know, like when you have this discussion, it's a bottle of bourbon, you know, pack of
Yeah,
condoms on the table. So they know if you
yeah.
say yes, you're going to get laid.
That's I'm never above that really.
What's our next
Anytime you
question?
can just bait somebody with sex, I feel like it's going to be a win-win.
It's going to be a win-win. So Andre, what's our next question?
Okay, Emma, I hope that was helpful up in Michigan. Our next question comes from the other, well, still up north, really, uh, which is this is from Melissa in New England.
Okay.
Hi, Melissa. Hope you're watching right now. And this I actually this one I love because I want to give a little bit of background. I actually know Melissa somewhat, and I happen to know that she's a professional psychic, which is pretty cool. She does tarot readings, but I guess I'm confused why she needs our advice. Like I feel like it's a trap. Like she's already spread out the cards,
Right.
already knows what the answer is going to be, and she's just testing us to see how accurate we're going to be. In any case, Melissa in New England asks, any fashion tips on hot summer handbag styles?
Wait, so handbags?
Handbags
All
for the
right.
summer. This might be your area of expertise more than mine, Cole.
Well, I would say definitely if you're traveling, which is what we kind of focus on, is a carpet, if I can get this word out, compartmentalized like bag. So you just want to get something that can just be pretty useful, like, and really just big, like huge. to put everything in. And you should have a night bag, a nice, cute little purse. And I find most of those for fashionable senses are kept in thrift stores, believe it or not. And you can find like fake antique clutches, which are beautiful. You can carry out. I have a pretty beautiful gold one I bought just the other day for $6, and people give you compliments. It's like reuse, recycle.
So wait, so it's a fake antique bag? Is that? I mean, does that actually look good? I feel like it was like a plastic handle that looks like it's supposed to be bronze, or.
No, no, you try to go for this something that's super old school looking, like something that everyone's gonna be like, oh, did you get that at an antique store or your mom's closet? I don't know. Either one works.
See, I do, I'm by no means a fashion expert. If there's any topic we could talk about on this show that I'm the least expert at, it could very well be fashion. My mom still dresses me, that part. But I do agree that, I personally think that older styles look better.
Yeah.
I do not understand when I walk into a department store and I see all this like super mod stuff. It's supposed to look like the Twitter of messenger bags or something. I don't get it. So and so many people carry that kind of stuff. Maybe this is why I'm no good at fashion, because I'm telling you to do the opposite of the trend, right?
Right.
The trendy thing is the fashionable thing. But if so many people are carrying these like sleek modern styles, I think getting something from a vintage store that looks older is going to be good. But not if it like just screams like the 70s.
Or mama.
Or mama. Exactly. So Cole is a not only a New Orleanian but also is this correct? You're Creole, right? That's what your family is.
Yeah, I'm a born Creole.
So can you explain to those of us who are not as attractive what the word mama means?
Okay. So mama comes from the word grandmother, and us Creoles don't really like to use too long of words. Mama is easier for kids to pronounce, apparently. And it's really a form of a love and affection. And I shouldn't be using it as a term. It's a term of endearment. It's a term of endearment. And so, mama bags are a little out of fashion, but make sure you get it from her before she dies, because it's gonna get back in style.
Don't bury her with it, because
Oh.
you have no use for a purse in the afterlife.
Nope, not really.
That's my understanding. I really don't know. Maybe you do.
I doubt it. Either way.
Like the ancient Egyptians, were they like buried with their purses and handbags?
Right.
Is that?
I think you just go inside the tomb and steal it, and you snatch it, even if she's buried with it. Like grave, for sure.
Right. Okay, here's my question. I'm clueless. So Cole, tell me this: if you're looking at older bags, you go to the thrift shop or the graveyard, and you're looking at older bags that you might want, how do you tell the difference? How are you like, well, this one looks old in like a classical, elegant, catchy kind of way, but this one looks like a grandma would carry.
Right.
How do you know?
I always say go with royal colors, which are really bright. White, is always, if it's not damaged and soiled. Gold, blue, and black, and red. Just stick to those.
Every color.
That's like the rainbow.
Every color except for green.
Right, exactly. Well,
By the way, I'm wearing green, so thanks. Thank you.
You mama. But no, as opposed to like patterns. Like you really want to stay away clear. Like this fashion season is like not going for like don't go paisley with it. Don't go. That stuff is just not good.
Or what
Usually.
about something that's more I guess, classical, like a herringbone? I mean, all patterns aren't bad, are they? What about checkerboard? What about
Oh,
plaid?
yeah, I think that those actually belong in winter. Those kind of patterns kind of like, belong in that season. As opposed to summer where you want something that's like super bold, super, it's all about being out there and shiny. So anything that's shiny works during the summer. I'll say that.
So
Anything.
I guess this is kind of built into Melissa's question. She asked about summer handbags, but I mean, can a girl find a handbag that just works year round? I mean, is that like an elusive mythical creature like a unicorn?
It doesn't. You really do have to switch from summer to winter. It's a lot different because if you think about it, during winter, you're gonna need a lot more room in your purse. You're gonna need to put your gloves away. You're gonna need to put like basically your scarf maybe in there. Your I don't know, your wintertime hat. I don't know. I always feel like winter we carry a lot more stuff like antibacterial cream or you know NyQuil or whatever. Like but for real, I think you just need a bigger bag. For summer,
So,
it's all about light and airy, and just not that those are just the two seasons, but usually you kind of categorize life that way. But definitely, summer is about being less clothes, the better. Skimpier, the
so,
better.
so you're saying it wouldn't just work for me to take my handbag, my purse that I carry everywhere in the summer. I can't just like turn inside out and it's like plaid on the other side. So now, bam, we're good to go.
No, because here's the other thought: the bigger the purse when you're wearing during the winter, the smaller your body looks. So it slims you. Just saying.
Okay. So
You're
you want
wearing
a
extra layers.
giant plaid purse in the winter and a tiny, like bright colored purse in the summer.
Yes.
But wait, okay, but doesn't it have the opposite effect? So if a big purse makes you look smaller, now you're walking around in the summer with a tiny purse, you just suddenly look like you just doubled in size.
Well, you lose a lot of weight during the summer. You're supposed to be active. You're not supposed to eat Christmas cakes, sent by mama.
Which, by the way, just a note to everybody in New Orleans who's watching right now: king cake stops at Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Yeah,
No king cake in the summer.
no.
Stop.
No. That's that's ludicrous. Nope.
Just because Rouse's still has it, it doesn't mean it's okay. Rouse is
Right.
not.
Right. No, it needs to end on Ash Wednesday. Okay?
Oh, so you carry it all the way to Ash Wednesday. So okay, that makes sense because you got to clean up the remains of your king cake the day after Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And I
No, Ash
mean, you can't drink on Ash Wednesday. Is it like you're supposed to not drink then? Because
Lint.
now it's Lent. So the only thing you can really do for any joy in life is just eat sugary stuff.
No. No, I mean, you're supposed to give up sugars, Andre. Like you're supposed to give up all the fattening stuff. That's why you get skinny in the summer. Duh.
Because of Lent. Okay, so the Catholics got it figured out. That's good to know actually. Um, so I will say, and again, not an expert. I'm actually going to do I'm going to do a product placement for
Okay, go for it.
since we're on the topic of bags. Um, this is and we have received no money for promoting this at all. We've received no favors, no benefits. I just happen to think this place makes amazing stuff. Um, a few weeks ago, a friend of mine on Twitter was talking about this, and I found this little leather bag manufacturer on the West Coast. They make men's messenger bags as well as purses for women. And their work is amazing. I mean, we talk about like an older, like classical look that's going to really, kind of seem to stand out a little bit, full compliments. It's called Satch and Fable. I don't know where that name came from. Satch, like a satchel, and Fable, like a tall tale. Satchandfable.com.
I'm gonna
And
write.
if you go there and look at these bags, you're basically going to faint immediately.
I thought you were gonna say something completely different.
It's only the pilot episode, when I
Right,
go
right.
slowly. Okay, I mean, yeah, you're gonna get a little excited, and And I mean, the prices aren't bad. I mean, they're like handmade designer messenger bags for like $170 or something. I don't know. I paid almost that much for like a department store messenger bag.
Right.
So anyway, I would recommend Satch and Fable if you get a chance. And if you are from Satch and Fable and you noticed us promoting this for you, send us some bags.
Right.
In plaid.
We will give you our addresses. No problem.
Right. Exactly. I will just give out my home address to anybody on the internet who asks for it. Just send me some stuff.
You're not supposed to do that?
Why wouldn't you? By the way, this reminds me of, this is not advice related, but this is New Orleans related.
Oh, God.
Anybody out there follows the Twitter account Being Nola, at Being Nola? It's one of my favorite things in the universe. It's a different person every week. A different person from New Orleans is selected to run this Twitter account for 1 week. Sometimes they're lame and boring. Sometimes they're awesome. Usually they're pretty awesome. And the last few have been like pretty top notch, like funny and interesting. And so Being Nola, this week's Being Nola, tweeted out this news story that this guy who lives uptown heard a knock on his door or the bell rang or something, and he went up and opened the door, middle of the afternoon, and he saw his mail carrier walking away, and there was a package that had been left on his porch. Normal. But he wasn't expecting a package, so he brings it inside. It's like a giant box, and he cuts it open, and inside is $40,000 worth of marijuana. $40,000 worth of marijuana. Just showed up on his doorstep. He didn't order it. I don't know where you would like order that much marijuana from online. There's probably a website. And so he, being from uptown, called the police. And it has been reported. So, I mean, it's like winning the lottery. I don't know. It's $40,000 worth of marijuana. But I don't know. He probably was worried about being shot, which is fair.
Right. Clearly.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I guess I would have probably like taken out like 1 ounce.
Right.
Before
and then I would have just left
turning
it on
the rest over. What?
I would have taken an ounce out and then go ahead and put the rest of it outside of my door. Like, someone clearly wrote this address down. They need to pick it up. I'm just going to take a pinch off of it, and you can have the rest. Like, make your money.
I mean, it's like a little tax. You know, it's like if like you ask somebody to hand you a slice of cake, they're going to take a bite out of it first.
Right.
Maybe I'm the only guy who does that. You know, you buy someone a drink, but first you like take a sip.
You buy someone a bottle of wine, you drink half of it. I mean, whatever.
I did once have to replace. I had bought my roommate a 6-pack of beer as a thank you for doing something to help me out. And like weeks later, I see all this beer in the fridge. I'm like, oh, we have beer, and I like drank it. I realized it was the same beer. So I actually did drink my own thank you present beer at one point. So I'm just not a good person. But I bought him more.
You bought him more? Was that round cheaper than the last round? Like, did you buy him like picates?
Well, I mean, in fairness, if you're sitting on a 6-pack of beer for like 3 weeks and you haven't even cracked open one of them, I just feel insulted. Like, you know, is my gift not good enough or what? I don't know. But, you know, okay, so the thing with the marijuana delivery is I just picture, like, holding this package in my hand and knowing that somewhere in the world a drug dealer just, like, shot his administrative assistant for sending us the wrong address. You know, check your addresses, people.
I like how he has a personal assistant attaché. You know, like he's really. I mean, if you're $40,000 producing $40,000 of weed, you're working on a serious scale. Like,
yeah, you're really a CEO at that point, more than a company.
You know, and of course, I just can't imagine. You know, you're sitting at home. You know, you're just chilling out. Maybe like drinking a beer that your friend left in the fridge for 3 weeks, and some lady just knocks on your door with a package that's about my size, you know, 5 foot, and you're like, awesome, it's Christmas, right? And it says on it fragile, and you open it, and it's $40,000 worth of weed, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll call the cops. Like, it's like, what are you going to do at that point?
There's not really a lot of good options. I mean, you cannot realistically use that much. I mean, this could be a challenge for someone, but you really are not going to use that much weed yourself. Like, you'd have to go buy literally all of the brownie mix in Walmart.
Yes.
To use even a fraction of that. And it's kind of like a risk to have it around. And I mean, my first thought was just take it out in like little baggies and just distribute it like around the neighborhood. Just leave like an ounce on every doorstep. But you're probably going to get either shot or arrested or both at that point. So.
Right. Like the trail will definitely back to you because you signed for you got the UPS delivered to you or whatever. Right. I do wonder if it was the assistant or was it UPS? You know what I mean? Is it the shipping company? Like, did somebody from UPS die at this point? Like, because of
the police had a really interesting explanation. I guess this is normal to them. I wouldn't have thought, but they said that drug lords will send these packages intentionally to a house that they have no relationship to. So it'll be delivered during the day when people aren't home, and then one of their people in that city will just grab it off the doorstep immediately.
Like that's what I was saying.
When this guy opened his door and took this package, like at that moment, there was like a car across the street with like two guys like, no, I don't know.
Well, that's what I think too. That's what I've heard. Like basically, I just would have just, again, pinched off and just slightly shoved it out my door and pretended nothing happened. Just take
1 ounce of marijuana out of there and you put in 1 ounce of oregano and you just mix it up. I don't think no one's gonna notice at that point.
Or leave them a note like I owe you. Like.
Or like you owe me. Like here's your
you owe me.
Tax for
You're welcome.
To my doorstep. Probably not. Try not to get uppity with drug dealers.
No.
Okay, so questions. We do have one more question today.
All right.
This one. This is not from Tim or Timmy. This is from Timay. I don't know. This is how it was spelled, Timay, which I don't even know. I don't know. I'm sorry, Timay. I don't know if that's like a boy's name or a girl's name. I'm not sure. I'm just going to proceed on the assumption that it's like Timmy, that you're a boy. And you're just like, no, I'm not Timmy, I'm Timay. So Timay in New Orleans asks, I am 20 and I don't want to work. I just want to explore and travel. How can I live without working? How can I live without working? Well, there's a really easy way, Timay, and it's called being a hobo.
A hobo? Yeah, I mean, you really have to invest in like a good kerchief. The red kerchief, a good stick, and maybe a really bad hat. And you're set. Timmy,
I would take out some teeth. You don't want a full set of teeth as a hobo.
You also want to use a lot of dirt on your face. Like a lot, just go ahead and get a bowl of it and I don't know where you get a bowl of that.
But not in a blackface way. Just
no, not a blackface. Not a blackface. Get real dirt. Like it's in your backyard.
Right. Just rolling it a little. No, I don't know. I mean, okay, this is my thing. So first of all, I respect Timay's question. Because when I was 20, I didn't want to work either. And I'm now, we'll say 29, and I still don't want to work. I mean, the thing about jobs is that they suck.
Yeah.
And when someone's like, oh, I love my job, what that means is that their boss or one of their clients is one of their Facebook friends. So they can't complain about it. I guess unless you're like a Navy SEAL or the president, then it'd be a pretty cool job. But,
yeah.
Okay, so when I was 20, I was basically not interested in working, and unfortunately, I worked anyway, which is the conventional wisdom, like just suck it up, go to your job, and enjoy the weekends. And it's not a healthy situation. I don't think evolution built us to have 5 unpleasant days for every 2 pleasant days. And really, not even every weekend is that pleasant. So it's really more like maybe 6 to 1. I don't know. So what are some ways that Timene can break out of this cycle?
Timene, here's my philosophy. I believe with you. No work, no play. It's just the way life is, and let's pretend that you're on your own, and your parents, I don't know, they're just like totally out of the picture. This is what I did. I decided to become into the service industry just for that fact that I can make bundles of cash and then take off time throughout the year. And it just depends on what you land. Like if you land an amazing job, which I did last year, I was able to take almost up to 8 weeks off this year. Without really, I mean, I'm definitely dipping a little bit into my savings, but nothing I can't rebound from. You can do that. You can, in our service industry, you can do that. You want to, like you're saying, basically, it sucks. 5 days out of the week, like, What you also, Andre, do stuff that's a little bit out of the extraordinary, like ordinary person's situation. You're kind of extraordinary that you can write. So you can work not exactly when you want to, but block your time off as you should. So you should either be A, a writer, B, in the service industry, hotel industry, or C, a consultant of your own company, because then you can make your own hours. And at 20, I don't think you can really be a consultant. So
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're consulting. Like,
right. But if you don't like the conventional, I get it. I don't like it. I don't like the conventional, 40 hours a week. You only get 2 weeks of vacation, which you may or may not get to take because, you're a slave, whatever, to making shoes or something. But, or I don't know. But I think you have to become a little bit imaginative about your work schedule. And that's all it takes. Whether you're a nanny, some people like to do nanny au pairs. They get to go overseas and actually be an au pair in Paris. My cousin did that. Speak another language. If you don't necessarily want to work, if you speak another language, it's a skill that you can actually do other jobs with. Like, I guess like again au pairs. I'm faulting on that, but like you can teach English in other cities as well.
And that's true. That's actually a really good, yeah. You can almost anywhere in the world.
Really?
They will have a teach English job for you, except for Britain.
Except for Britain, yeah,
they teach their own English, and it's weird. I wouldn't use that English. So
stay away from that in Scotland. Those two. Yeah,
the accent's pretty good in Scotland. You could probably teach them like cowboy phrases for living in Scotland. I think that would go well.
They like us a little bit better than Englanders.
True.
A lot better.
I mean, here's the thing: is I feel like the key to being able to travel freely or live the kind of life you want is not to necessarily get out of working. It's to find a way to generate income that you don't hate with every fiber of your being. So I think like the dream that people have in their head is like, well, if I take my paintings that I made and put them on a website, I'll become famous, and then I'll have so much money from doing what I love that I can just do whatever I want. And I think that's hard to pull off, but I think that on the way to getting there, you can find ways to use your own creative skills and talents in a way that's going to, bring in a regular paycheck. And so Cole mentioned that I'm a writer, which is true. You don't actually have to. I would like to think I'm a decent writer. But I have learned that you don't actually have to be a very good writer to be a professional writer. I mean, most of the articles I read online, most of the blog posts, most of the, not just like on someone's personal blog, but even like Huffington Post, those aren't well written.
No.
Are you kidding me? And I'm sorry, Huffington Post, but like you're gonna call yourself like a newspaper of the internet? Like you're not producing content that is really all that well written. You're producing content that just gets people to click the button, like, oh, I'll click on this link. That's what most professional writing jobs are looking for right now. So don't think you have to be the next Hemingway. And same thing, if you want to do like design work, you don't have to be the next Van Gogh. You just have to know how to make a logo. And that's not nearly as much fun as like doing your own paintings or writing these little articles for newspapers are not as much fun as writing your own novel. But you can do it for a few hours a week, 10, 15, 20 hours a week, and have enough money to travel and then do what you want to do, whether that's writing, dancing, singing, painting, tasting food, whatever you're going to do. I think you're going to have a lot more fun exploring the world and traveling if you find some way to make it income that people are actually willing to pay for.
Right. Or here's my other answer to that, is that like basically you could become a hooker, and that is substantial money, but it is work. It's a lot of work. So if you want that level of procuring the cash, get to humping, like Tim and Nene, get to going on that.
Right.
But no, in all seriousness, don't sell your body. But basically, for me, I think my line of work is easy cash. It's quick. All you have to do is be able to smile and say yes and give people things and show them around. But you meet a lot of people, and it opens up your sense of travel. Like you can actually talk to people. Like I work in the hotel business, so people from around the world would visit us. One day you'd be serving someone, from Denmark, and the next you're serving someone from France or South Africa. So you can even talk to these people about travel. So it really is engaging. I think it's great for just to know, just kind of to be exposed to different cultures and to try to understand the world a little bit better. That's why I do love my job. There are other bad sides to it, of course. Every position, like you're saying, every position does. But I don't hate my job. And it gives me the freedom and flexibility to take vacations, And I think, there is a difference between vacations, like we were saying earlier, and exploring. So you just have to figure out, like, how much you want to do of that, how much time you need, and then plan your life accordingly to that. Do you want 2 months out of the year off in a row? Do you want 3 days out of the week off? You have to just plan. Are you like a weekend warrior where you're like, all right, I'm going to go to like Florida for a weekend? Or you're someone that's like, oh my God, I want to go like see the Great Wall of China, where you're going to need like 14 days to do all that.
And a stack of cash. You
Right,
need to sell $40,000 worth of marijuana to go fund it.
$40,000 worth of marijuana, start to selling,
What a hustle.
So I guess, really it's about drug dealing, prostituting, and, consulting, really, most of it.
Sure. I mean, so that's something I do want to put. I mean, the drug dealing, a respectable profession, the prostitution, certainly an exciting career, but I think that there is something to that. That when somebody's saying, well, I don't want to have any kind of job, I just want to travel. There are ways to do that, but if you don't have a trust fund, it's going to usually be uncomfortable and dangerous.
And dangerous.
That's not necessarily, I mean, you're 20 years old, Time, like, you don't have to have like a career yet and all that. And nobody's saying that you need to be a lawyer like your dad wants, or,
Right.
take over the family business, or, or whatever it is that you're like, oh, I hate this job. You don't have to do it. It's fine to like be young and explore. Actually, I think it's better if somebody, when they're 18, 19, 20, even 25, if they don't dive right into like, I've got a plan, I've got a goal, I've got a career, like just take some time to go and travel. But I think that if you walk around, May is from New Orleans. If you just walk around New Orleans, like talk to the kids who are actually hobos,
Yeah.
or travelers, as they prefer to be called. Like we've got plenty of people who show up in New Orleans by riding the rails, by hopping onto trains, without a ticket. And sometimes they'll hitchhike, sometimes they'll walk, and they're camping out. So they have no rent to pay. They don't pay for tickets anywhere. They have to get food somehow, So sometimes they play music for tips, or sometimes they just hang out and ask for a spare dollar. And a lot of people look down on those travelers, but if you talk to them, they like certain parts of what they're doing. I mean, they enjoy the freedom of the road. They certainly enjoy not having a job, not having to report for duty anywhere, not having any responsibilities. But there's a dark side to it. I mean, those same people who love that sense of freedom will tell you how often there are fights, how people fall off the train and get killed, how security officers, or a crazy person who picks you up when you're hitchhiking will just shoot you.
Right.
Dog attacks, sexual assaults. There's a lot of drug use among that community as well, and a lot of overuse of alcohol. So it's kind of like it's a very mixed bag. You're signing up for a free ticket to go anywhere in the United States and probably Canada that a train runs, and just to live for free for a while. But you're also taking on a huge amount of discomfort and risk. And that's the trade-off. If you can find a job that you're willing to work, you have a little bit of pocket money, and now you can have more reliable source of food. You can have an apartment that you can lock the door of, so you're not getting attacked in your sleep. There's a real trade-off there.
I agree with you, but here's another source of an idea. I saw a documentary about Craigslist. This guy was like, I'm going to live off of Craigslist. I don't know if you've seen it or anyone that's watching. And basically, I stopped watching the movie halfway through because I was like, okay, whatever, doesn't matter. But essentially, this guy got through living off of Craigslist. He took his iPad or computer, whatever, laptop, and got it out and just Craigslist. Does anybody have a place for me to crash? Sometimes it was comfortable, sometimes it wasn't. And as he got more skilled at what he was asking for, more references, things of that nature, you can use couch surfing as well. Yeah. So, there are a couple of ways that we have gone cheaper and the world's more accessible through the internet. Like, asking people, hey, can I stay on your couch for 3 weeks and I'll watch your kids every afternoon. There's a lot of bargaining you can do in order to travel, but you do have to have a purse. You have to have some kind of cash so that if the kids are really aggravating you, you can go stay at the hotel. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to always be able to, I think that's the biggest thing we're both talking about is comfortable. How comfortable do you want to be? How much danger do you want to be? How much perils are you willing to risk for a little bit of time that you can make cash? The uncomfortability of a job is not as bad as falling off a train.
I mean, unless you're a train worker and that's your job, then it might be the same.
Right.
And I also think that it's really worth thinking about, if you are able to do some kind of freelance work, how you can leverage the power of the United States dollar in other countries. I mean, there's a reason that so many travel bloggers and writers and coders and designers don't live in the United States. They live in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Bali or somewhere, because everything is substantially cheaper there. So if you have a skill that you can market as a freelancer, let's say you know how to build a website, and that seems like a skill everyone has these days, but a lot of business owners don't. If you know how to build a basic website, you can sell that. If you know how to write an article, if you've written your own blog since you were 14, you know how to write a good enough blog post to write them for somebody else. And so now you're working for the same price you'd be making in the United States, being paid in US dollars by PayPal. And you're living for the cost of living of being in Laos or wherever it is you want to live, somewhere, basically anywhere in the world that's not Western Europe, the United States, or Canada is probably going to be cheaper, or Japan, they're really pricey. Anywhere else is going to be cheaper to live in. So go live in South Africa for a while, or Brazil.
Right. And this opens up an international standpoint. I feel as though when I lived in Manhattan, I worked in the industry, but I met a lot of Aussies, a lot of Australians, a lot of New Zealanders, and I didn't realize it because, New Orleans is a port city, but it's a lot easier for them to start in New York. That these kids were 21 to 24, and their whole point, or younger, I didn't meet them because they weren't allowed in the bar, but basically you're allowed a certain amount of freedom for about a year to literally travel. It's a way of passage, and it's international passage. So these people have they understood that you have to go find yourself around the world, culturally speaking, in order to actually find yourself. And they usually actually go back and start their careers. And it's interesting because it's like, they save up for it, their parents save up for it, their grandparents give them money for a fund for it, and they're not very well off people. They're not like these rich, substantial, like my daddy owns Mac or something, I don't know. But like, they, not that happens, but they're people like you and me, that they're middle income people, but their parents just kept on putting the fund away, just so that they can actually have that travel in their system and see other cultures. And that's exposing your people to a different culture, is making them broader and in an intellectual sense. So I applaud the Aussies for that idea. But it's amazing.
Is that sort of like when like Mormons go on their like 1 year of traveling around to like the Australian like convert you to being like, are they trying to make other people convert to Australianism or kangaroo worship?
I don't know if it's about convincing other people. I think it's about more so about like finding yourself, and not just finding yourself, but exposing yourself to like, oh, okay, so that's how, Americans eat and become fat. No, they're exposing themselves just to different scenery. And I think that's really important when you're 20. I think that's substantially important. I've noticed people that I meet, the more Americans that I meet that have like lived in suburbia and have stayed in that kind of setting, and then when they're like 25, they like come to New Orleans, or 30, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that the world is this free, this open, and you're just like, okay, yeah, whatever, can I get you a drink? Like then, like, so it's so ridiculous how much we've kept our young at bay, because we think that they should go to college. They should finish college right away and start their careers. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. Nope.
Yeah. Don't do that. If you are 19, 18, and you want to go to college, I think that's great. But don't go yet. Everyone says don't take a year off because you'll never go. The reason that people who take a year off never go is because they realize they can make it without going to college.
Right.
It depends on your profession that you want to go into. But take time to get to know yourself first, and then get to know the world. Believe me, you're going to have a much better idea when you're 24 what you want to do with the rest of your life and what the best path is for that. Do you need a degree? What kind of degree? What's the right college to go to? Don't just go to college just because your guidance counselor or your parents or somebody told you to. It costs a lot of money, either for you, for your parents, or for the state. And it's not always going to set you up for the kind of life you want to live. So figure out your dream first, and then go to the appropriate amount of schooling that's going to help you actually live your dream. I think that's it.
I think that's a perfectly well-made point, sir.
And disclaimer, I did go to college right out of high school. So in some ways, it's like, oh, this is a guy who got to go to college, so he's just, he
but I
has
didn't.
a sense of entitlement. But the reality is, I wish I had waited. I can see now how the path I took in college did not help with my actual life aspiration. And when I finished college, I wasn't prepared to be a professional writer. I wasn't prepared to travel, and I didn't even know what my next step should be. I really floundered for a long time. So I kind of wish I had taken the time to figure that out first and then gone to college, which I enjoyed, and college can be fun.
I didn't go to college. I have probably about a year and a half left. And people are like, why don't you just finish? Because it's not going to help. I was in liberal arts. Like it's not a career. Like it's just not a path. Like art history, there's like two things you can do with it. Walk around the museum pretending you're doing something, or B, like maybe give, I don't know, lectures about art history. And that's like it. And once you get to that point, it just doesn't, it didn't make sense to me. What am I going to do with that, and how much money am I draining out of my pocket, whereas I can be on my own, travel again, experience different cultures, versus like all right, I have to go to math 404 or whatever. You know, like I'm never going to use this knowledge. Like you have to be practical. And unfortunately, our society has set up this awful thing called college as like a way to like, this is going to make me work. And I'm going to like, after this, my whole life's going to come together. No, it's not. Like, it's just not.
Yeah. And that's really not even the right reason to be in college. I mean, I have enough friends who are professors to know that they really prefer to work with students who are there because they have a passion or an interest about their specific field of study. And or even just about, you know, getting to know themselves and getting to learn about many different areas of knowledge to kind of grow as a person. But the majority of college students are just there because you're supposed to be, and
Right.
you're hoping it'll get you a paycheck someday. And professors are just driven crazy by that. I mean, this is essentially
Yeah.
just like high school part two. Just go there because you were told to go there. So just, you know, figure out your life first. And it's okay if you don't have it figured out, just take some time. Just go
Right.
hop on a boxcar, pretend you're Australian to get a free trip around the world. Don't become Mormon. And I'm just kidding. Is that like, is that, that's not appropriate. I apologize to our Mormon viewers.
But again, I think, you know, the better education would be, again, the thing I lack is actually learning a foreign language. That will bring you just so many different avenues, like translating for people or just that kind of knowledge. Take classes on things that you want to grow as a person, not, oh, you know, this equals what I'm going to become. Because nowadays people are starting to recognize, oh, well, she didn't finish college, but she has a head on her shoulders. You know what I mean? Versus like the college grad that's next to you. It's becoming more about, I hope, my hopeful wishes is that we're more resourceful people, self-reliant. And I think like we can actually start becoming that, you know? So stop going to college, kids. Is that our platform?
Exactly. And if you're in college, get out. No, I'm kidding. If you're enjoying it, it's great. If you're enjoying it, have fun, stay there. But I like Cole's idea. Learn another language, and to that I would add, okay, here's the 3 classes you should take. You don't need a college.
Then you're
Learn
done.
another language, learn to dance, and actually there's really just two. Just do those two things. And you're going to either have a steady job or you're going to have a lot of sexual partners or both. Because those things just pay off, you know? Speaking a foreign language and knowing how to dance, are you kidding? Are you kidding? And college doesn't teach that. When has that ever, well, okay, foreign language, yes. But dance, who has to take dance in college? Unless you're a dance major, you don't get to. So.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, I think that we have done a fantastic job of solving the world's problems. Anybody watching, if you agree or disagree, let us know. If you enjoyed the show or it gave you strong opinions that you want to share, please do. Please leave a comment below the YouTube video. And if you have a question or a problem that you would like us to help you solve the next time, ask us. You can leave it in the YouTube comments. If you prefer to keep it more private, you can email me. I will put an email address underneath the video as well. And we can use a fake name for you. Whatever you call yourself in the email, that's what we'll call you. And maybe also some bad names. So lastly, you know, if you enjoyed it, I mean, what are you supposed to do on YouTube if you'd like to? I mean, do you like it? Do you like subscribe?
Like I
I mean,
think
do you like it's Facebook or you know? Here, okay, if you like the show, you should share it. That's what you should really. I don't really care about like how many subscribers we have. Take the link, put it on your Facebook wall, and tell people that these two people are hilarious. Because we don't do this for the money. We do it for the free handbags and the attention. We're really just attention cravers. So by spreading the link across the internet and by telling your friends, you're paying us our paycheck of attention. That's all we do.
so. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, everybody. Ask us your questions. We will solve your problems. Talk to you next time. This is André.
And Cole.
Saying goodbye.
Deuces.